You have to wonder if a deal between the Walt Disney Company and DirecTV is ever going to get done. That carriage deal for the 11 million customers of DirecTV to get things like the Disney Channel and ESPN, well, that expired right about the 1st of September. And as of right now, it doesn't look like things are getting any better or going to get resolved anytime soon. DirecTV, even over the weekend, took it one major step further, something a bit unprecedented during a carriage deal like this, where they actually filed a formal complaint with the Federal Communications Commission saying that Disney is actually acting in bad faith negotiations, and they've got a pretty compelling case. Let's talk about that.
Renegade Online.
We've got this story following up on the fight currently with DirecTV and Disney. Now, again, we just had our first NFL weekend. This is going to impact tomorrow night for people that are going to want to watch Monday Night Football. Now, we talked about this before. DirecTV decided, just like last year when the deal came up with Spectrum, and Spectrum decided to hold Disney's feet to the fire and walked away with pretty much everything they asked for. So too is DirecTV. But DirecTV, like we told you before, is taking it a step further. And now it turns out we got this bit of news. This happened this morning. They filed an FCC complaint against the Walt Disney Company, accusing them of negotiating in bad faith. Ooh. So one of the things that we talked about Wednesday and last Sunday when all this started was I said that though it had not been expressly stated by DirecTV, I think at the time they were trying to negotiate in good faith. They weren't necessarily trying to give away exactly everything that they were doing, but they made it seemingly clear enough in so many words that what they were after was to get a pared down bundle, meaning we want to be able to offer DirecTV customers Disney packages in the basic package like we have now, minus live sports, because like everybody else, most of their viewers, most of their subscribers on DirecTV do not watch live sports. They don't watch ESPN. They don't watch the SEC network. But of course, everybody is paying for that. We've covered that before. You know, up until at least the last year, rumor had it was roughly $10 a month for every cable and satellite subscriber out there, because it was in the base package, ESPN. You were forking over about $10 a month out of your cable subscription right to Disney in that case. Well, a lot of these cable providers, they don't want to have ESPN in there because that represents about $6 or $7 a month, or maybe $8 a month. They could get the rest of the Disney channels in there, and they're only worth $2 to $3 a month. And that's what they want to offer at their base level. They want to be able to keep the consumers happy, and they want to be able to keep the consumers from cutting the cord, which they have been doing in droves the last few years. So this happened today. DirecTV has officially filed, this is from the Hollywood Reporter. This came out at about 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I think, this morning. Filed an FCC complaint. Millions of customers have been impacted by the blackout of Disney-owned channels, with many unable to watch the beginning of the NFL season or the U.S. Open, which is going on right now. DirecTV filed a complaint on Saturday with the FCC, alleging that Disney failed to negotiate in good faith as the satellite provider blackout of Disney-owned networks continues into a second week. The FCC complaint states that Disney has failed to negotiate in good faith. Disney has violated the FCC's good faith mandates by predicating, any licensing agreement on DirecTV's waiving any legal claims on Disney's past, current, or future anti-competitive actions, including its ongoing packaging and minimum penetration demands. Now, basically, they're suggesting here exactly what I surmised last week, which was if you read between the lines, Disney wants DirecTV to waive any future legal claims on past, current, or future anti-competitive actions, including ongoing packaging and minimum penetration demands. Meaning, if you're Disney, your minimum penetration demand into your packaging that you're offering customers is to have ESPN for everybody. If you have 11 million cable subscribers that are at the basic level or higher, meaning entry level on up to premium, Disney wants all 11 million of them. And that's how many DirecTV has. Disney wants the entire Disney package, including ESPN, to be forced onto everybody. Well, that's not what DirecTV wants to do. This is why all these cable companies are losing subs, or at least in part, because companies like Disney, providers like Disney, want to keep raising the prices over and over and over and over and over again to the point where the market has been squeezed out.
While Disney's a direct competitor, right?
Right, more or less, especially with Hulu now. Right. Once Disney owns Hulu all the way, that's going to make it even more interesting, and that's part of what's going on here.
And by the way, I'll tell you, I think when Disney went too far for me, to the point that I said that this is just absolutely dirty, is when they started offering DirecTV subscribers who want to cancel a discounted subscription plan for Hulu Plus Live. And I said, that's just dirty, because you're telling DirecTV, on our side, we're going to offer this unbundled. On your side, you're going to penalize your subscribers with all this stuff they don't want. Right. We're going to give you subpar content and say the best for Disney Plus, which that's saying something about Disney.
That's exactly
the best stuff.
That's exactly what this FCC complaint is filed. It's exactly that.
Disney wants to destroy DirecTV. That's what they want.
Yeah. Well, more or less, they'd prefer destroy everybody and get them all over Hulu because they own it now, or they're about to.
Right, and they want to soak all the cash they can off of DirecTV while they destroy them, and they want DirecTV to smile while it happens.
That's it. The FCC filing also says, quote, the negotiations have stalled because Disney insists on bundling and penetration requirements that a federal district judge in New York recently found in the context of the Venue joint venture to be unlawful, anti-competitive, and bad for consumers. Now, I find this really, really fascinating that and this may have been what prompted it, this recent ruling from this judge that effectively put a halt on Venue. And that wasn't even filed by DirecTV. That was put into play by Fubo, who had a lot of these live sports contracts for streaming. And they said, hey, wait a minute. We're already paying for all of this, some of this from these companies and from the leagues directly. And now all of a sudden they're going to create their own service after they charged, after we agreed to pay them for this product. Now they're going to do it on their own. No. We're not going to have any of that. And a judge, so far has favored Fubo by dropping the hammer on this, at least again for the time being. That may change in a few months, but right now that's where it stands. But DirecTV has literally used that court case in their filing with the SEC as evidence. Hey, we've already got one judge that said there's something wrong here. This should be a layup for you guys at the FCC to jump in and come to the same conclusion with our situation. And they go on to say that Disney wants to force DirecTV to carry a, quote, fat bundle, including less desirable Disney programming, while itself offering cheaper, skinnier bundles of programming that consumers want. The commission has never considered a good faith complaint in these circumstances, and DirecTV may well wish to bring one in the future concerning Disney's conduct. So what they're talking about there is, think about this. If you go directly to Disney, what can you do right now? You can subscribe to Disney Plus, and you can get basically all of the content that Disney is dumping onto their linear cable channels that are Disney branded, right? We're not talking about FX necessarily. We're not talking about Nat Geo per se, although that is in Disney Plus now. But specifically the Disney stuff. Think like the Disney Channel, Disney Junior, Toon Disney or whatever it is they changed that to. Freeform or whatever that used to be ABC Family. All of that you basically can acquire for $9 a month, plus all of the Disney Plus proprietary Marvel Star Wars content that nobody's watching. And you can get that on your own. And then if you want, then you can also go sign up separately for Hulu for $7, $8 a month and get all of the FX content and the Hulu content. Then you can go sign up for ESPN and ESPN Plus, or you can sign up for this Venue thing that's supposed to come out next year. So essentially, Disney is offering themselves the exact packages that cable providers and satellite TV providers like DirecTV have been begging for years, and now still in 2024, as Disney is doing this, are still being given the middle finger by Disney. So this is why they're filing this with the FCC. It's because, Disney is literally doing it themselves, and they're telling us no. Well, there's something wrong here, right? And especially when Disney continues to remove programming from its linear services, adding them exclusively to Disney Plus. So right now, Disney, theoretically, because of what they did with Charter Spectrum last year, would be in line to certainly grant each of these 11 million DirecTV subscribers a Disney Plus subscription. But DirecTV wants to be able to offer a package that's basically non-sports. We want to have one that's non-sports, and we all know why Disney refuses to do it. They can afford to do that on their own because they've already got 70 million cable customers on the hook, each one of them paying $10 a month basically for the whole Disney package, most of which is propping up live sports. And Disney just re-signed a brand new deal with the NBA for 11 more years, $2.6 billion per year. If suddenly Disney lost 70% or so of the remaining cable subscribers, the ones that basically aren't watching ESPN, if all of a sudden they went from paying $10 a month on their cable bill to $2 or $3 a month on their cable bill that would go to Disney, Disney would be in an overnight financial crisis. And they wouldn't be able to basically cover the cost, the sports rights that they have, because advertising alone is not paying those bills. The question is, will the FCC have the chutzpah to do what probably needs to be done in this case and say, well, Disney, this is what you're offering. You need to be able to make the same offer to these cable companies as well. You need to be able to sell them a bundle that doesn't include live sports, which clearly the vast majority of their customers are not utilizing, and they don't want their customers to pay for it. That's what they're asking the FCC to do.
Why does DirecTV and Comcast, why do they not get together then and say, you know what, we're both going to say nay to this. We don't want to have all this bundled on us, because it seems to me that for DirecTV, this is existential. They've dropped so many subscribers in the last years, they cannot afford to take this on and then have to charge higher subscription rates, while at the same time, Disney is able to drop those numbers.
Well, and I mean, this whole thing falls under like antitrust laws, I would imagine, at some point, right? Like, I mean, now I know most corporations, when they get hit with this stuff, it doesn't really affect them all that much. They got to pay out a fine and whoop-de-doo. Mm-hmm. But like at this point, like this is becoming more of an epidemic across the board, like not just involved with the television side of things, but everything when it comes to these corporations that, you know, Disney, even AT&T, you know, and all of them involved, Amazon be another one, so on and so forth. I mean, I just can't believe we've gotten here where they're able to pull this much kind of power and sway when it's clearly, you know, a violation of antitrust laws, right? You can't do that. You can't undersell competition. I'm at a loss here with some of this stuff that they're getting away with and trying to do. So I hope DirecTV and Disney, Disney has been pulling this for years, right? Because that's been their whole thing since way back in the early days of cable. Like as soon as they had, when they were still ABC and not even part of Disney yet, right? Like ESPN was one of the biggest things to ever happen to cable. Mm-hmm. And it was so big that they were able to charge so much money for so many years.
Yep.
Just so cable companies could have ESPN on their channel. And don't get me wrong, 9 times out of 10, when you're having some issue with ABC versus whoever, it's because over ESPN. You think they give a shit about any of the other channels, really? ABC would be the next and most important one. So at the end of the day, they've been using ESPN for the last 30, 40 years as leverage over these companies. So is DirecTV finally said enough is enough, or what's going to happen?
Yeah.
What do you think?
That's basically what DirecTV is saying. It's not only the fact that, okay, we've put up with having to offer ESPN to everybody, right? When we know that only 30 to 35% of the people that have basic cable actually watch ESPN. The only television sets that are tuned to ESPN, not during a live sporting event, it's usually a bar or restaurant at lunch.
I was going to say, they have those bars and restaurants and all that stuff going for them, too. That's the other thing, yeah. And that was something that came into effect, what was it, like, well, now it's got to be like 15 years ago, but where they started counting that as part of the advertising revenue as well. Sorry, but go ahead. Sorry, Valiant.
You're right though. But that's just it. And that's what this wasn't an issue 10 years ago, right? Because there was no competitor to linear broadcast. There was no competitor to cable. Then Netflix came around and everything changed. And then every other studio out there, including many of whom operate television channels, in many cases multiple, right? Warner Brothers and Paramount and Disney, of course, obviously, and you can go on down the line. They started offering their own proprietary streaming services, and they're offering much of the same content that cable customers are already paying for. Just to kind of wrap this one through here, the complaint continues along with these anti-competitive demands. Disney's also insisted the DirecTV agree to a clean slate provision and a covenant not to sue, both of which are intended to prevent DirecTV from taking legal action regarding Disney's anti-competitive demands, which would include filing good faith complaints at the commission. Not 3 months ago, however, the Media Bureau made clear that such a demand itself constitutes bad faith. Read that again. Disney insisted the DirecTV agree to a clean slate provision, basically agreeing that no matter what we do, you will never file a complaint against us or sue us. Where have I heard? Maybe somebody at DirecTV signed up for a Disney Plus trial account. Right. Disney's demanding that, hey, even if we actually act in bad faith down the road after we do this deal, even if we actually act in violation of the Federal Trade Commission, the Federal Communication Commission rules, whatever, you are waiving your right to file a complaint against anything that we do to you. How about piss off?
Should we call this the Weinstein clause or something? I mean, that's what it feels like.
I feel like Disney's attorneys often take strong positions with little law behind them.
And you can see here, the Media Bureau made it clear that such clauses or such demands in a contract itself or themselves would constitute an action of bad faith. So Disney knows going in exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing with this. And they don't care. Because, again, Disney, people asking in the chat about how, well, wouldn't this hurt Disney? They're losing ad dollars. This is true. They are, right? They're losing those eyeballs that they otherwise would have on DirecTV that would watch Monday Night Football or the U.S. Open or all the college football stuff on ESPN and their family, the SEC network, all that yesterday, right? You wouldn't have gotten that if you're a DirecTV customer. But for Disney, it's like short-term loss, long-term gain. We can hold their feet to the fire and get what we want, and we'll be we'll take a small hit now for a couple of games, but over the next 5-6 years, we're going to get a lot more. That's the way Disney looks at it. Quote, we continue to negotiate with DirecTV to restore access to our content as quickly as possible, says a Disney representative who told The Hollywood Reporter, who wrote this article, by the way. We urge DirecTV to stop creating diversions and instead prioritize their customers by finalizing a deal that would allow their subscribers to watch our strong upcoming lineup of sports, news, and entertainment programming, starting with the return of Monday Night Football. So Disney's saying, in other words, we have given DirecTV and their customers a giant stinky poo sandwich, and it's up to DirecTV to sign the deal and eat the poo sandwich and like it. So this is typical Disney. Now, look, just to be clear, these carriage disputes, they come up all the time, right? Whether it's a local affiliate group like from Hearst, or it's NBC and another cable provider. Every so many years, these contracts come up from negotiation. But I tell you, historically, I go back and think, I never remember any of them as hot and as contested and as ugly as the ones that have been from Disney in the last couple of decades.
Make sure you're subscribed to Valiant Renegade and join us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern for the live show.